news.
Make sure that we leave pauses in there because it'll make my...
Pause for news.
No, like you just did. The little build-up for it.
Yeah, there you go. So, Valve. You know what they did this week? They unveiled the specs of the Steam box. And I, for one, feel so bad for the people who are going to buy it because your wallet is gone. They are packing in an i7. They're packing in the most expensive top-of-the-line video card, which is the NVIDIA Titan. They are going to put a 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM and a terabyte hard drive in it. I don't know what else you even need. There's like you're talking $1,500 minimal by far, with some of the top models being at least $2,000.
How much is that graphics card by itself?
$1,000.
Jason.
Go ahead.
So you're talking about Jason.
All right.
Anyway, so you got
This isn't the good part yet. Takes a while to get going.
you got a $1,000 graphics card. You got probably at least $150 to $200 CPU. You got about at least $100 worth of RAM. You got probably about $100 worth of storage with actually has 8 gigs of solid state drive for the operating system, I believe.
That's expensive.
Isn't it what's called Generation 4 i7?
Yeah, it's Gen 4.
Isn't that more than $150, $200? Isn't it?
It could be in the $250 to $300 range as well. I haven't looked it up. This is me because I know the prices of most of this stuff already. So yeah, they got a power supply which is only 450 watts, which in my opinion they skimped on the power supply because it's only an 80 plus. I'm gonna get very technical with you. 80 plus is kind of like the low end one where it's because you can go with 90 plus of course, and it's better for
It's 10
power
more plus.
losses.
It's 10 more plus.
The power loss you don't
want to lose those pluses.
Exactly. So anywho, yeah, exactly. Everyone knows what I'm talking about now.
Jeez,
So
get with
anywho,
the program.
so they skimped out on the power supply, in my opinion.
You got your PCs with your drivers and your hard disk
And
drives.
your mouses,
And, the
your
mice.
Mises.
It's basically just a custom computer in there, almost, right?
Yeah.
Which is why
there's a motherboard in there.
it won't do well because of this. This is their ultimate downfall, I swear to God.
Why
No,
would you got into
like I said, it's going to cost you about $2,000 to get these models. So not many people are buying $2,000 computers because at that point you're hopefully buying them all
You're just getting
separately
a
and putting them
computer.
together, essentially. Anyway, so there's that. Good news to everybody. Good news. I'm glad everyone could.
I'm hoping with this because you didn't check out the whole episode, did you? Because we got into this late.
Yeah.
And the one thing I am hoping for is you could buy this controller separately. Mm-hmm. And with the update to Steam, I would finally want to use my PC that is really, really good to play some games because I'll have a physical controller that'll work with more games.
For games that you have.
And I won't have to assign keys and update drivers and play with things and move shit around and stuff that I don't care about that turns me off from PC gaming.
Turn your router on and off again.
Yeah, because that always turns on and off when I play PC gaming.
Yeah, exactly. More news!
More news!
That you guys will be able to discuss. The Xbox One, for all you people who thought they would be collecting facial recognition software, it would basically be placing your face and throwing it to the government. It won't leave the console, we think.
Why do we care?
I don't know. This was a thing earlier this week where people were complaining that they were thinking the Kinect, well, it's been going for about a month, that the facial software would be sending it out.
Everywhere you go, you're being taped. Everywhere. Every store, every bank.
I saw myself sleeping in a video a few weeks ago.
If you walk past an ATM machine in your entire life, you've been taped. You're far more likely to have the government view that taping than off your silly Kinect. I hate Kinect, but this is the dumbest thing to be upset about. Your cell phones, every computer has a built-in camera. Like, how is this an argument? They're starting to put them up on street corners to catch people who run red lights.
Chicago
You're constantly
has more
being
cameras
filmed.
per corner
Constantly.
than any other city in the country.
It's paranoid people. That's all it is.
Exactly.
What are you doing that's so bad that you're scared that the government's going to
no.
look through your
The
Wouldn't
government
you
really
like
cares
to know?
Because you're sitting there smoking a joint. Big
Yeah,
deal.
or fucking eating a bag of Doritos in the comfort of your bedroom. Yeah, that's the government has that many man hours that they're going to watch you eating a bag of chips. Yes.
They'll sell that.
This
to
is
Google.
what you're doing with your
They'll sell
hard-earned
that to
tax
Google
Google,
will get you.
and then you'll get ads popping up on your Xbox. Try these Doritos Plus.
Yeah.
How did they know?
Oh my god, it's like they're in my head.
I want some Doritos right now.
Yep.
So we also have some sad news this week. We had Tom Clancy die this week.
He's still pretty young, wasn't he? Like 50
66. I'm sure everyone has played a Tom Clancy game at some point or read a book. Did anyone have a special favorite of his? Or I know at the end he had nothing to do with any of his books, or he had nothing to do with any of his
He couldn't
games.
have wrote all those books that quickly.
No, he actually sold his name, is what it was. But some of the other stuff he was still responsible for. But what did you like that it had his name attached to it?
I appreciate him as an author. I've never read any of his stuff. I know he obviously knew how to market himself, and
Yeah, very much so.
I'm gonna go out there. I don't like any of his games.
No.
I personally
No, like original Ghost Recons.
Here's my thing, and it falls in the same line of like Call of Duty. Like with as much that you see media coverage of wars and people getting killed and blah 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 on the TV, I don't like, if I want to watch war, I'll turn on CNN. Okay, I prefer blowing up aliens as to watching people blow up people in other countries. So none of that. Like when I play games, I play them to escape, not to watch what I can watch on TV.
Yeah.
So that's me personally, but I still appreciate everything that he was able to do and the marketing genius behind him.
Yeah.
Everything. So
I never played Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six was fucking
Splinter
hard.
Cell.
I did.
sucked.
I
The
did-
early ones were very
Yeah.
hard.
I did play the original Splinter Cell. Me and my best friend Vic, we were fans of Metal Gear Solid, so we, that was like the competitor.
Wanted
at
to
the time.
try good stealth gaming. Got it.
I liked Metal Gear. I never really got into Splinter Cell. We never beat the first one. We got like halfway through. And,
Oh, the last mission of that game is ridiculously hard for when it came out too.
I don't know. So it was one of those things where I think if we played Splinter Cell before Metal Gear Solid, we would have been Splinter Cell fans, but it just didn't work out that
Probably.
way.
What about Siphon Filter?
Is that Tom Clancy?
No.
What else
But
has
that-
Tom
but that was
Clancy
another-
made? Other Rainbow?
In War, you got Hawks. Some of his older stuff. That's probably
Yeah,
gonna be about it.
the Rainbow Sixes.
I would say that's probably about. He probably about 5 franchises or so.
Rainbow Sixes, I think, is biggest.
So wait. I always wondered. Rainbow
It
Six.
is-
No,
Close.
Rainbow Six within itself had branches.
No, I know. Oh, in terms of games, yeah, it would definitely be Rainbow Six, but
There was Rainbow Six. Was there Rainbow Six 2?
No, those are Vegas. There's Vegas 1 and 2.
No,
Then
there's
There's
also-
original Rainbow
then there's
Six
original, yeah.
you're talking about like PS.
That's what I'm saying. There's like Brant Nuz
1 or
and 64.
Yeah, you're right. N64, that's what I had it on. Actually, I don't even know.
It was
why I didn't question
gray with the
myself.
green. It was all that radar green, the sticker, with the little.
I got it at home.
I always found that Rainbow Six 3 to be a confusing title because there's 2 numbers.
Yeah.
Like what the hell?
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
What if they ever made it to Rainbow Six 6? Or Rainbow 666?
Medieval.
Compelling
I
part.
ordered a sausage biscuit with egg and cheese and a
How do you like your
chocolate
eggs?
chip and chocolate chip frappe this morning, and it came out to $6.66.
Did you not pay? Was it free?
Oh, I paid.
Cool.
How do I like my eggs? Scrambled. I don't eat them any other way.
Oh.
Don't eat them any other way.
That was an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
As for myself,
Put all your eggs in your baskets.
I did enjoy the Vegas 1 and 2. They were really hard games, and but that's not my favorite thing he did. My favorite thing he really didn't do too much with. It was his concept that got hoard out and hoard out again and hoard out again. And by the time the product came out, he probably had nothing to do with it. But it's this movie from, I believe, the late 90s, might have been the early 2000s, The Sum of All Fears.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go with that, actually.
A lot of people look back and they don't. I think that's an excellent movie with
Bruce Willis?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
With a really cool
Batfleck.
with a really cool
Affleck.
message in it and a
Batfleck.
pretty realistic warning hidden in the context of stuff that's not outside the realm of possibility with America and Russia and their superpower responsibilities toward one another. So
Tony, I got a comic for you to read since you said that, and I just read it this morning at work. And it's like a fucking 10-year-old comic book. It's called Superman Red Sun.
everything involving Russia is over 10 years old. China's the new.
I'm just saying, Superman Red Sun. It's if Superman landed in the Ukraine as opposed to Kansas.
Yeah, because America has a decade-long feud with countries. Currently, everybody knows about it. Before that, it was Russia, and before that, it was
it's on.
It was Cuba, and
You still
before
have
that,
my
it was
app?
Vietnam, and before that, it was
Next
Korea.
is Tonyopolis.
And before that,
Coming straight for Tony.
you were coming out of
Japan.
WW2.
Tonyopolis.
Tonyopolis. It's the next one.
Coming to
They're
a
gonna
theater
invade
near you.
You.
They have a new enemy every 10 years. That's the big scare, the threat to Americans' way of life.
Superman
We were
Red Sun.
scared
It's
of
on
Vietnam.
my Comixology.
We were allied with half of Vietnam.
The Southerns.
Yeah.
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 Well, I summarized Vietnam as it was the whole threat of communism.
I think it's safe to say you're overgeneralizing.
Communism. No.
Here we go again.
Commie. News!
More news.
More news! PS3 got a firmware update this week that gave basically a lot of PlayStation Plus features to everybody.
This is
Really? Like what?
auto updates, cloud saves, bunch of crap I don't remember.
Let's see.
It's really not.
Oh, privacy settings for trophies. I don't know.
No, that's new to everybody.
Don't look
I
at
know
my
that's new to
trophies.
everybody. It's,
No, PlayStation that with the trophy thing. The thing was
it's, just, it's software updates.
You know how on Xbox, if you pop in a game and you hate it, you have that 0 out of 1,000. You could just delete it from your gamer score history. PlayStation, there's something within the hardware that doesn't allow you to do that. So their fix for it was to allow you to just hide those games, so they don't show up as games that you have 0 out of 100 or out of
That you're embarrassed to have played.
Yeah, that you popped
Essentially,
in and they
yes.
sucked. You're
The
just
Resident
like,
Evil 6s of the world.
hey.
Yeah.
But those games that you pop in, you're like, you played for 2 minutes. Now it's permanently on your log that you didn't do anything for the game. You
Don't look at my trophies.
you can hide it.
Now you can transfer data over Wi-Fi. That's another update. That's not PlayStation Plus, but that's just...
But the
Update in general.
reason they're giving all this stuff away is they're prepping PlayStation Plus for the transition to PS4. With PS4, virtually everybody's going to have PlayStation Plus. It's going to become almost the standard where 2/3 of
Yep.
them
I
have
don't
it.
think everybody.
So
Like 2/3. That's what I just said.
Oh, 2/3. Is that a standard?
my
That's about
It
what
is for
that's
what
what about what
Xbox
Xbox is with gold to non-gold.
Really? You
my-
think it's that low?
Well, okay, what do you think it is? I don't know. I'm guessing,
Isn't
dude.
there like 40 million
I'm just-
subscribers to Xbox
Yeah, there's
360?
78 million Xbox 360s.
There's not 78 million Xbox 360s out there. How many Xbox 360s have we purchased of the four of us?
4, 2.
4 yourself?
Yeah.
5.
Well, I'm
I've-
saying
I've
I only had
been
to
through
pay
two.
for
I've been through 2.
2. I've only had to pay twice, I guess.
Based on this ratio right here,
Okay. Well, I think it's going to be very
I'd say
similar.
like 95% of people probably have Xbox Live.
You really think that's that high?
It's a
Okay.
useless system unless you have it. I mean, like
Well, that's what
you
they're.
can't even use Netflix. Well, now you can, but you couldn't even use like Netflix.
But that's what they're going to essentially do with the PS4. They're going to make it where you're going to need PlayStation Plus. So they're just this isn't
play online.
this isn't more giving to the PS3 guys without PS Plus. This is prepping their network because everyone's going to have PlayStation Plus for PS4.
What I'm saying is, I think PlayStation 3, especially its first party content, has a lot more experiences that don't necessarily require internet play. Whereas I think the vast majority of Microsoft's first party stuff or exclusive stuff, not all, but a good amount, is heavily community multiplayer based.
But now I think every game's going that way. Like the
I
last
don't
3
know.
years, it's pretty heavy on
heavily
every
that
game.
way.
I
It's
think-
ruined games.
Games that
Tomb
never
Raider.
ever even remotely thought
Tomb Raider.
of Tomb Raider's
Yeah,
a prime
but you
example.
don't need it.
The next
The Last of Us.
The next Batman's doing it. The Last of Us.
Last of Us had great
Bioshock.
multiplayer, actually,
Everybody's throwing
surprisingly.
multiplayer in games that don't even have them to extend the longevity
Yeah,
of the
but
game.
like Last of Us, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, I mean, if you were not a PlayStation, bleh. If you didn't have online, PlayStation Plus, whatever, you couldn't play online Last of Us. I don't think that really ruined the game for you or ruined the experience.
No, it wouldn't have.
But I think a game
It was
like
a good multiplayer, though.
a game like say like Halo 3, Like
Yeah.
you're losing a good portion of that game without the
The experience of it, at least.
I think.
But you could say the same about any game. You could say The Last of Us. Well, you miss that online experience.
I think
but
they have just as many though. Like it's just because it's easier to pick out certain ones on Sony's stable.
It's big hitters. It's God of War, Uncharted.
Well, they
got
have so many more in their stable. Like, okay, you take Forza and you have Gran Turismo. Same thing. If you want to race online, you have to race online. You take Halo and you take Killzone. Same thing. You want to play a majority of the game. Halo's a better game. I'm not just saying that. I'm just saying for the shooter wise, the majority of that game's online. And you have Gears of War with fine Uncharted. Okay, the third person tuck based shooter.
Yeah, nobody plays Uncharted online.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. A ton.
It's a lot.
They gave you Uncharted 3 multiplayer for free.
Uncharted's
I've never
huge.
heard of anybody.
Uncharted's huge online.
Yeah, they got.
Really?
They got.
It's the only game. Uncharted 2 is still big online. That game's from 2009.
Wow,
So
I
you
didn't
can
know
go
that.
instantly find a game.
At least
Okay.
that's not marketed.
Okay,
or
now-
popular. Or,
Now Xbox is out of exclusives, and Sony I can still name another 20. So yeah, you're out of the remaining 20, you're gonna find some that aren't very
Ratchet and
multiplayer
Clank,
centric.
Not really.
Well, when people think Uncharted, like I haven't played Uncharted 2, but like I don't know anybody who like mentions the multiplayer.
It's
like,
really good.
Like when they talk about like how good the game is.
Uncharted 3
Other
is
than Gears of War, it's probably one of the best competent like third-person shooters.
Well, Gears, the multiplayer is huge. I mean, that's.
the
I
horde
mean-
mode is big.
I mean, I would say more people probably play the multiplayer. Like,
Well, once you beat with the story, don't.
Yeah,
you
I
turn to
know.
it's the same thing with Uncharted. You beat the story and you play online.
but like when I think of like Halo,
There's map packs for Uncharted. There's season passes. There's DLC. There's expansions. It's insane.
when I think of like Call of Duty and Halo, I almost lump Gears in that group where I think it's more known for the community aspect, the online aspect, the multiplayer, more so than the single player. Where I don't think Uncharted is. No.
No, Uncharted's known for the single player,
Yeah.
but the
Like, I didn't even know. I knew 3 had multiplayer. I didn't even know Uncharted 2 had multiplayer. And I'm,
it's really good.
you know,
Uncharted 3 is amazing, the multiplayer. Not the physical running and shooting. There's like little horde mode sections, like King of the Hill type things, where they switch tasks on you. It's
They didn't
actually
give it to you for free.
it's actually really well. That's the best part of it. They want you to buy that part.
Yeah, I know.
Comes with a disc. Buy the disc. It's like $3 at GameStop.
the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
so
have,
cheap because they gave it away to everybody for free. The game's like worthless now. But it's cheaper. Buying the entire game pre-owned at GameStop is cheaper than just buying the map pack through the Sony store.
Yeah.
That's how cheap and worthless it is. There's a lot of cool horde modes where you team up with a few people, and it's constantly evolving within one match. Where like you'll have a wave of 30 people that come at you, and it'll be King of the Hill. As soon as you defeat them, wave 2 starts where you have to run and steal this treasure from the other side of the map, while an infinite amount of people try to stop you, like constantly respawning. And then there'll be this thing where you have to like wall climb to this other thing while people are shooting at you, and that's your new objective. So it's like this morphing co-op mode with horde elements, and it's like a blast. It really is.
So before we get too far, you'll appreciate this because this was a part of the. I wanted to put it in there before you guys had your tickle fight.
Tickle fight?
Yeah.
Who won the tickle fight?
I don't know. I stopped listening.
Oh, okay.
Probably like most of the viewers. But speaking of PlayStation Plus, I convinced my next door neighbor to go out and buy the 500 gig GTA bundle and get PlayStation Plus.
That thing's selling
Okay.
ridiculously well too.
And
How much
he
was
is-
it?
He paid
$269.
$260 for it after tax because he a police officer, so he did
Yeah.
get a little bit of a discount. Absolutely loves it, and I was just going through. Oh, make sure that you download this, and you know, all the stuff that's still up there that is available. He's like, "This is the greatest. I'm not buying a PlayStation 4 now because I've got all this to play for a while."
No.
Because I told him, I'm like, waiting, because he's not a diehard gamer like us, but he does play. I'm like, dude, wait until the spring to get your PS4 because then there'll be more stuff for you to play on there. You know,
Like I don't understand that line of logic though. I used to think that way too. The first month I got PlayStation Plus, you're never going to catch up because you're like, oh cool, I'll just catch up on these 8 games that they gave me. Next month you're getting another 4. You're not going to beat 4 games a month. You're not going to. The back catalog will just keep growing. If you have
Sure,
that
full-time
mindset,
job, yeah.
if you have that mindset, you're just
You're not finishing
you're never
games.
gonna evolve.
He's got 2 weeks off from work coming up here at the end of the month. He's like, I've got games to play.
I don't know. They just give you more than you can play. So
Yeah, no, I hear about. I'm saying that I told him wait to.
granted,
get your,
some of the games aren't good,
Yeah, happens.
but
I'd say 30% of them.
aren't good.
Yeah.
I don't really have a number. I don't know. Maybe.
I'll make one up later.
Shirium and all that other weird crap.
Eco. I can
Well, they
get
gotta,
Eco,
they
I tried
gotta,
it.
they gotta, give something for everybody. Like, here's one for the shooter fans. Here's one for the
Yeah.
RPG
I
fans.
understand.
Why
I
doesn't
understand.
That's what
specify
makes it so
for
good.
Me every
I wish
month?
they'd give me something.
Why don't they give me only shit I want? Clearly,
Grand Theft Auto Day 1.
Games that were free like in January of 2013. If I get PlayStation Plus right now, I don't get that.
No.
No, right.
It
Okay.
has to be what's current.
Yeah.
But you download
There-
that stuff.
there-
you'll always have. I think they guarantee 20 games.
Yeah. There's a workaround for you to get the stuff
Hold on,
that
wait,
came
wait.
out in January.
Wait, let me.
Not
Let me
anymore. I got like 4 people logged into my account.
wait, hold on. Wait.
You're not the only
Just
one.
unclear. Let's
Oh, I have like 3 years of PlayStation Plus.
Uh,
though.
Yeah, I
let's
went
say,
through the whole thing.
let's say the games from like last January, you had PlayStation Plus at that time, and let's say you never like cancel your PlayStation Plus, you'll always have that game. Those
Yep.
don't go away.
Mhm.
So there's no limit of 20, you said, right?
No. There's when you initially sign up to PlayStation Plus, it's either 18 or 20. I can't remember the exact number. They guarantee are in there. So when they're kicking some of the oldest games out and putting new ones in, there will always be that 20
Okay.
games
That's only
for
for brand
when
new.
you sign up.
Right. Okay. Got
You'll
it.
have like 20 games instantly or whatever.
Makes sense.
So.
Makes sense. Cool. Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro. Tell it again.
More news! The Wii is finally going to go out of production soon.
It seems maybe it's just a surprise, but it seems rather quickly.
There's so many units floating
It's-
out of there. I don't think they're making
Standard
many
D, is that-
new sales every week. I think
It's
it's mostly
still outselling the Wii U.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
outselling. It's right there,
It's
neck and
close.
neck. Yeah.
but that's not saying too much at this point anyway.
It's
They had a big month in the UK.
You're UK.
Your face is UK, Mark.
I haven't seen the sales numbers for
We're
September
America.
yet, so.
Who cares about UK?
I think it has more to do with it's like I think the 360 and probably more so even the PS3 will sell for probably like 6 more years. Like
I think the PS3 will. I don't know about the Xbox.
Oh, I
yeah,
saw
that's why I
it's
said
not
the
that
PS3
long, yeah.
more so than the Xbox.
Yeah.
The Wii it looks like it'll make it through this holiday, but that's like just over a year after the console, and this is the system that did better than both the
Yeah.
PS3 and
And just has a
360.
crummy attach
Don't-
rate.
don't-
Does your
the-
store
the
still
thing-
have new Wii's in stock?
Yeah, the
They're like one
the
or two
thing,
usually.
Huh.
the thing that's different about that is the Wii got a lot of its numbers in the first chunk. You know what I mean?
No, it didn't. It still did its fastest
Like the
rate
first-
in
the first-
2009.
Yeah, it came out in what 2006?
Well, that's like
3
3 years
years.
later.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm-
that's
I'm-
what you consider the first chunk?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Well, if you're going from, 7 years or 6 years now? 7
Yeah,
years?
the
I
first,
guess.
I
chunk.
guess
Technically,
I should
that
have
might
said
be
half. The first
50%.
half. A lot
That's
of
not even-
consoles.
Not even
could
the
be.
first half, really. I mean, the 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11 had 6 holiday lineups really by itself.
All I'm trying to say is the last few years, the
Yeah.
Wii is not selling.
The 4th
a
of
lot.
the 6th was the best holiday lineup. The holiday in terms of sales. When Mario came out, New
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers.
They're just not selling a ton of these anymore. Whereas
I don't. I think your premise is wrong.
you're not listening to what I'm saying. You just
No.
keep cutting me off. Go ahead.
They did
go
bad
ahead.
in 2011.
I have to make a point before you say it's false. Go ahead, please.
It started doing bad in 2011. I
Okay.
think before that it was strong in 08, 09, and 010. It was strong.
Mm-hmm.
2011, it was bad, but that was the last holiday season of its life, basically, before the next Nintendo system came. I think it took 1 year of a drop, big drop in sales, but it still sold decently, but just not nearly at the rate. But compared to any previous Nintendo console, it had a long its second year wasn't its best year, like almost every other previous Nintendo console that has ever launched.
From my experience, because I know Tony wasn't really there through the whole thing, but it exploded, and just as quickly as it exploded, it died.
What do you mean by what time period are you saying died?
It does
Around 2010, 2011.
Yeah,
But that's like
by
5 years later. What?
okay, but it didn't take off.
But
Right
the
at
Xbox,
start
the
either.
Xbox
There
is
was
still
the-
selling hundreds of
'cause
thousands
alright,
a month.
when it launched,
and it's 8 years old.
when for the first holiday season of the Wii's existence, what were the launch titles?
Twilight Princess and Wii Sports.
Wii Sports came boxed in, so
Yeah.
that doesn't count towards anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
just that. Those two. Those are just that.
Red Steel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Red Steel 2.
so
More
and
swords.
what are the lifetime sales on Twilight?
Like over 7 million.
Okay, which
7.5
is
million.
impressive. But when you look at generally
It's very
speaking, that's lifetime sales. That's legacy sales included, right?
Legacy.
Okay, so how many Wii's were available that first holiday season?
Not many. 3
Okay.
million maybe?
So then we have to eliminate that first holiday season because it doesn't really count towards much of
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Okay, it's a fraction of the percentage. So we'll go ahead and we'll count 06 as out of there. Knock off 2011 because that was the big drop. That was the big decline. In reality, it didn't pick up until, like you said, the third or fourth holiday.
What'd you say?
No,
Holiday
was the best?
2
Oh, 9 was
wasn't
the best, you
much-
said?
Holiday 2 wasn't
Yes.
nearly it wasn't that great either. It had a slow burn to start.
No, the Wii had a solid holiday every single year until 2011. It never really had a bad year. It never had
No,
a bad year.
I'm not saying it had a bad year, but it didn't peak until
it was selling, I believe, at
mid-gen.
its fastest rate in 2009.
Okay,
But
which
it
was
was
year
outselling all
three,
the other
right?
consoles in 2000.
which but
Seven.
that was if it was 06 because of 06, right? I could be wrong.
It launched in 06.
Okay, so 06 we're not counting that. So 07. So we're talking about the third holiday in already.
But I think even like I think I'm almost certain. I shouldn't say this.
Say
I'd be willing to guess that the Wii outsold the 360 in 2006, even though the 360 was on its second holiday. This is just a guess, just based on.
Well,
It definitely outsold the PS3 because
Yeah,
Everything.
Yeah, that did.
I think the Wii outsold in holiday every single year until 2011. It was the highest selling console of the
But
platinum.
again, in terms of you have to, like I was saying, it may have, but they were all had. It's not like it just exploded onto the scene. There was a progression, a build up, just like
I
there
don't
is
even
with
know where
anything.
this started.
So it
I was
had
gonna
a
make the
peak.
point that you can pick up a used one for about $50.
Yeah.
That was my entire point of this whole thing.
Next news story.
So,
Mark, put the pin in. Moving on. That was
okay.
great.
It makes.
Go ahead, it's conversation.
I have one
Go
other
ahead,
thing.
bring it in, bring it in.
If I was Nintendo, this would be like a poor man's version of PlayStation Plus.
Can I throw something here real quick? Can we do a second fireside chat real quick? All right, let's go around the room, and I'd actually like you to go dead last.
Okay.
All right, let's start. If they called tomorrow and said they need a new runner of all Nintendo, what would you do? What
You're calling me?
all four of us are going to answer
Oh
this.
shit.
What would you do?
This is like a
'Cause-
topic of a week.
because
itself.
this brings in so many different aspects. It's
so unprepared.
It's do you think that's the point? We're doing off the top of our head. Do you think Nintendo's on the right path? Would you stay the course? Would you change a few things and head on a different path, or would you completely shake up the company and do something completely different? And what would you do?
Am I going?
I don't
for it?
care.
We're going this way?
I don't care.
Okay. I would take more of the focus of what they're doing with the handhelds because the handheld is performing great. It has a consistent flow of titles coming out. I would try to, like we were talking about, kind of spread them out better, and give actual B, like solid B games in between those A's instead of like 2 A games coming out the same day. Like we were saying, what was Donkey Kong and Mario?
Mario. Well,
Wasn't it?
yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
that what it was? Donkey Kong and Mario instead of
it
dropping
makes-
2 bigger franchises on the same day and potentially forcing people to decide between the 2, spread them out better. So take more of the focus like what they do with the handheld. The handheld has probably a solid release every month. forget all the shovelware,
Nah.
the My Little Pony bullshit.
Every
and-
other month, maybe.
Okay, well, that's still not bad though.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would do. I'd get rid of the fucking tablet.
Are we going this way?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do to fix the Wii U, but for the next step, handheld division is doing great. I wouldn't change a thing.
I give them all promotion.
You've got to stop pretending that third parties and online aren't relevant in this day and age. Swallow your pride for once, Nintendo. Go back to the third parties. Tell them you're sorry. Make a comparable system to what else is out there, as opposed to being 7 years behind technologically. A lot of people feel burned by Nintendo the last couple generations, and they're not coming back until you fix that. And if you make something comparable and you offer all the same shit that's on the other platforms minus exclusives, Nintendo kills it with exclusives. But that's all they have now. And it's not enough. And if you offer everything else those guys are offering, plus your staple of great games, you're going to win the people back. But you have to go back to the third parties. You have to. And Bayonetta 2 is not enough. I'm sorry. Going to Sega, the biggest downward spiral of fucking any company that's still afloat in the history of video games, and locking
Very
a deal
close to it.
and locking a deal with them for a Sonic game and a Bayonetta 2 game is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting real third-party games on your platform that people care about. And the few that you are getting, you're getting half games because Nintendo has no online infrastructure. You can't. You get all the shit with like Splinter Cell or Assassin's Creed. You're getting limited in your gameplay functions because the online capabilities are not there. That's why Madden was a fucking joke on your system. That's why Call of Duty is and always has been a joke on your system. There's no infrastructure for it. They're close, but there's like a few major things that they're missing that they still don't see for some fucking reason. And they're like, why don't people want to buy this shit? Mm-hmm. And to me, it's obvious. I don't know.
I think they have a little bit of a bad press about them in the last year or so, and they need a little bit of shaking up, a little wake-up call. Maybe more consumerist focused, because they have done certain things that have just gone completely against that, and like you were saying, they definitely have the third place mentality to most core gamers.
That's the thing. It's a secondary system.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a secondary system. I'm bored with the stuff I have, and I want some more stuff. It's not they're not going after, like, they have their niche audience, and
they got those 20 million or so dedicated. That
which is
stick with
fine.
them.
But if you are trying, I don't know what their goals are. If they want 100 million, if they want to get up to the 75 million range and whatever else, I mean, they're
consistently, because the Wii
consistent. I mean, handhelds. They've been consistent with their handhelds for a long time now. It's their consoles that are like a wave, and I think a lot of it has to do with the core gaming people trying to get into it later in life, because it's gonna take so long for them ever to become I'm buying that system before my Xbox to most gamers. And I think there's a lot to do with that, is being the almost like the Phil Fish, where like they're being nice about it, I guess to say, but like, this tablet, you need this tablet. This motion controller, you need this motion controller, because a regular controller is sitting there, that's too boring. We have to be different. You have to understand us. We're gonna. Everyone else has to follow us. They've said this. Everyone's gonna have to follow us. Well, no, actually, everyone's going away from you as you're falling down with your console. I mean, that might not be the case every time, but
minus the Wii, their last 4 systems haven't sold extremely well.
Yeah, and you got into the simplicity.
Or no, excuse me, that was the one of the 4.
The Wii was set up so nicely because it was so simplistic for anyone to just hook up and play. I mean, Wii Sports is an awesome game for anyone to pick up. It's so freaking easy. That was gold mine. You didn't have to worry about buttons. You just had to worry about actions, and anyone can do that, really. It was perfect. It's the tablet was a terrible idea. Like, tablet gaming is going to fall on its face anyway for everyone else who's not seeing that already. It's not. It's like Facebook games.
It's not the
Look at
revolution
Zynga.
that they
Zynga
thought.
won't be here in 5 years max, maybe.
if that.
If that, I mean, I'm giving them a good lifespan. Even the CEO this week said, "I'm bored with our games." Actually, yeah, he probably didn't want that quote get out there, but
Don Metric? That's what he said?
oh, is it? Yeah, it would be him. Yeah, it would be him.
Every 2 months.
Yeah, I guess it would be him then. Yeah, he said there's a quote of him saying he's bored with Farmville and the City one or something like that.
I just don't know why they gave up after the GameCube. It's like they were on the right path. They had a powerhouse system. They had some third-party support at the time before it started not selling all that well. They had a really intuitive controller, which I still
They had a lot of good games.
There was a lot of great stuff. And then they were just like, this didn't sell well. Let's shake everything up. And it worked really well for the Wii.
Well, you
but now they think that that's their business model.
And even if you look at the GameCube, let's give you this tiny disc that doesn't hold as much space as anything else.
That's why
now everyone's going to have to adjust to us because we're innovative. You're making it harder on everyone else.
That's why third parties despise Nintendo. They have since the N64 came out, when they forced you to buy a $40 cartridge, a blank cartridge,
deal with it,
to
make
put your
money
$60 game
somehow.
out. And PlayStation offered people a $1 disc to make $55 on.
Yeah.
And all the third parties left. And nobody's come back since.
And even a great example, the Wii U, that's a Blu-ray
It's still
player that has,
proprietary.
I believe, hacked that you can actually play Blu-rays on, but you right out of the box, you cannot do anything with the Blu-ray player. They don't want to pay for the licensing of it. And you have to use proprietary discs. I don't know the cost of those. Do you happen to know cost of the proprietary ones? It's the exact same thing. It's like, let's go against the grain where
But they're
everyone's
fatter.
doing
The
it.
Wii U discs are fatter than a disc.
They're rounder too.
It's
Yeah.
weird. Go ahead, Ma. Sorry.
Well, a lot of ideas. One, I think the third-party argument is lost. I don't think Nintendo can do anything at this stage of the game.
I don't really ask for that from them either. I think that
But
makes
you
them
should.
unique.
That should be Nintendo's drive.
It-
Why don't they care? Why are they settling for being the secondary system? The system that not too many people want to buy right away, or you get it later on. Why aren't they the fucking
Pushing
the innovators and pushers that they pretend they are?
Because I think if there was a third one that did that, then it's almost like it's almost the problem of the PS4 and Xbox One, I think, where
They're so similar.
outside the first years of exclusives there's going to be, they're too similar. Where I think more so with this coming generation, there's after the first year especially, there's going to be I don't think as much of a difference between the two consoles. Where if you go back to like the 64 and PS1 eras, or even the Genesis and Super Nintendo, you're missing out on a huge library of stuff, I think, back then. But anyway, the third part, I think if they did all of that, they did everything right with the third parties and got everything right, and if their system was more powerful and could play what's going to be next-gen games, but I mean, it could play current-gen games, but I think the games would still, they wouldn't sell on Nintendo's platforms. They never have sold since, like,
They've
the
also
Super
gotten really crummy ports of everything, though.
That's true, but like even the
They haven't
Nintendo
gotten like that
64
try from third parties lately either. Like even they'll give dumbed down versions of stuff again. They do it for the Wii U even with like Splinter Cell. Like they had to cut out things from it, and I mean it's stuff like that where you're again making it harder on developers to put out a quality game for you because you have to take out features.
I think third parties feel the need to utilize the gamepad with the Wii U when they don't need to use the
I
gamepad.
don't think you really need to either.
They can just put
I would love it
gamepad.
as a dedicated map.
Yeah, or just you can play it
How
on
many
your
times
gamepad.
hours you spend in a map?
From at least what the guys from THQ had told me, it took them a day to get the game running on the gamepad only. Like it's just a few lines of code. Like that's all they need to do. Like the third parties don't need to do that.
We're still
But
on this?
Anyway, I just started.
Jesus.
But they should give up the third-party argument. I think it's a lost argument, especially at this point with the new consoles coming. I don't think that's the right track at this point in 2013 going forward.
How is he doing?
How they turn around the Wii U, it's tough, and I think you need software. So I think you need to double down on software. I think their problem is they take too long to make games. They have like 3-4 year development cycles with like the Zelda team and the Mario team, and like why like they're I don't know if they
Why does it take 4 years to put cats in?
sorry like if they need to put out more stuff. There was that long drought with the Wii U at the beginning of the year, they've announced a few good titles coming out next year, but like,
And then it's delayed half of them.
there's not gonna be 12 top-notch first-party games next year, and there's not gonna be third-party games that fill in the blanks. They need more first-party stuff. I think they need to expand their studios. I think that's the best
That'll help
thing.
a lot.
The best thing they could do. Like
It'll make them unique too.
like Retro Studios right now, they're making the new Donkey Kong that comes out. That got but
They got delayed, right?
they announced that they're not making the new Metroid game right now, really, because they're making Donkey Kong. And before they had a split team where one was working on Mario Kart for the but like, oh, we can't make one game because we're making the other. Like, why the hell can't you make a Metroid game? I don't care. It takes 3 years to make it, but have a separate team making it.
Yeah.
The fact that Donkey Kong is coming out in 2014 means that there is no chance there'll be a Metroid game until 2016, pretty much. And that's just ridiculous. So I think they need more third party.
First party.
More first party
Yeah.
studios. Expand them, spread them apart, and they need to put
Spread them!
more
I was about to
games.
say that.
From a handheld perspective, as good as the 3DS is doing, it's not doing anywhere near the DS, and I don't think it'll have the longevity as the DS did. The 3DS will sell this year with Pokemon, and it might sell next year. But I think
And the 2DS, that's going to go pretty well too, I think, for them.
I don't know how that console does in 2015. I don't know if it sustains the current model, the current trajectory. I don't know if it hits 100 million, even with 150 million on the DS. I don't know if this console hits it. Maybe it hits 75 million, but its successor won't hit the current numbers either. Like I think handhelds are just there's just so many other ways to play handheld games now.
I think the phone markets, tablet market kind of knocked on it a little bit.
And I think Nintendo needs to look at that. I think Nintendo can release their legacy titles on iPhone, on Android. Look, you put out you can overprice the crap out of them.
You don't pay for it. Just
Put
like look
out-
at Final Fantasy.
Put $19.99, $20 on the Google Store and the
iOS store.
iOS store. Put out Pokemon Blue, not even the new versions, blue and red and yellow, and you can redo them a little bit so you can play and battle and trade. $20. I bet you they'd sell 10 million units of that, like right now. And I think that's like a $20,000 investment for them. Like
Probably.
I think they
something
need
cheap to do a little bit of a version control.
put out Super Mario Brothers 3 on iOS. It'll sell. It'll sell a
it'll
hell of a
sell
lot
a
more than
hell,
it does
yeah.
on the Virtual Console.
Yeah.
But
I know they've said they don't want to do that.
They're not going to. Nintendo has too much pride.
I think their handheld is strong now, but I'm concerned about it long term.
There you go.
What's that for?
It's like looking into the past.
Also, I'm going to end news
Of the
there, by the
future.
way. Because I think we're over time. So, that was news! David Letterman! Fireside Chat!
So Donkey Kong did get delayed till next year. That was the news.
Yes, I know that was in the news. That, we had New Kirby.
New Kirby announced.
New Kirby!
Cool story, bro.